Hey fam, pull up a seat and get comfy. Welcome to Crime Lab Lounge. My name is Jake, and I will be your host for today's episode. So grab your drink or a smoke, because we're about to dive into some wild true crime stories together. Now let's dive into it. The story of Alexis Crawford is one that begins with bright promise and ends in the deepest kind of betrayal. In 2019, Alexis was a 21-year-old senior at Clark Atlanta University, studying social and criminal justice. She was close to finishing her degree and starting the life she had worked so hard for. She grew up in a big, loving family in Athens, Georgia, and was the kind of person who stayed in daily touch with her parents and her many brothers and sisters, even while she was away at school. She was beautiful, brilliant, and kind. She had a creative side, too, and loved to draw and sketch in her free time. For her final year of college, she moved into an off-campus apartment complex called Heritage Station, which was just a 5-minute drive from school. She didn't move in alone. Her roommate was her best friend since their freshman year, a young woman named Jordan Jones. From the outside, their friendship seemed perfect. They were so close that Jordan, who was from Michigan, would even spend holidays with Alexis's family in Georgia. Alexis's mother called them two peas in a pod. They shared an apartment, a life, and a deep bond of trust. But this trust would become the weapon used against Alexis. In the fall of that year, a third person became a constant presence in their shared space, Jordan's boyfriend, Barron Brantley. His entry into their world set in motion a chain of events that would shatter everything. The foundation of a seemingly unbreakable friendship was about to be tested in the most horrific way imaginable, revealing a darkness that no one, especially not Alexis's family, could have ever predicted was lurking just beneath their everyday lives. The first crack in this picture-perfect friendship appeared on a Saturday night, October 26th. Alexis, Jordan, and Barron had all been out drinking together. They came back to the Heritage Station apartment late, and all three were very drunk. Jordan later said she felt sick and went to sleep in her own bed. But she woke up about an hour later and needed to use the bathroom. She found the bathroom door locked. She knocked on the door, and it was Barron who opened it. He was not wearing a shirt. Behind him, Jordan saw her best friend, Alexis, lying on the bathroom floor. Alexis was only wearing a bra and did not look conscious. A pair of underwear, which appeared to have been cut with scissors, was also in the bathroom. Before Jordan could even process what she was seeing, Barron spoke first. He told her, "I didn't touch her. I didn't rape her." This statement, offered without any question being asked, changed the entire atmosphere in the apartment. An argument exploded between Jordan and Barron. It became so heated that Barron ended up taking the keys to Jordan's car and driving away. This prompted Jordan to call 911, initially to report her car as stolen. But during that call, she added a line that would later become crucial. She told the operator, "I think something happened to my friend." She also called a mutual friend named Brittany and asked her to come over. When Brittany arrived, she found Alexis sitting on the floor crying uncontrollably. Through her tears, Alexis told Brittany that she had been sexually assaulted. Brittany immediately made a second 911 call to report the assault. Alexis was then taken by ambulance to Grady Hospital in Atlanta. At the hospital, she filed an official report. She told police she had hazy memories of Barron touching and kissing her before she blacked out. The hospital performed a forensic sexual assault examination, commonly called a rape kit. The results from that kit would later come back and confirm a devastating fact. Barron Brantley's sperm was found inside Alexis. Despite this physical evidence, Barron was not arrested at that time. Atlanta police would later claim Alexis had only reported unwarranted touching and kissing, a statement that directly conflicted with the medical evidence and the severity of the crime she reported in the hospital. The week that followed the assault was a slow, terrifying unraveling for Alexis inside the very apartment that was supposed to be her safe place. After filing the report against Barron, she found herself isolated. Jordan, the friend she had trusted like a sister, chose her boyfriend. Barron managed to convince Jordan that he was so drunk that he had mistaken Alexis for her. Jordan believed him and reconciled with him. She stopped speaking to Alexis. The betrayal went even deeper. Jordan contacted some of Alexis's own family members and lied to them. She told them the rape kit results had come back and found no evidence, which was completely false. Alexis, knowing the truth of the evidence, was now living with a roommate who was actively protecting her attacker. Feeling unsafe, Alexis began sleeping on the living room sofa, texting friends that she did not feel secure in her own bedroom. What she did not know was that the danger was even closer than she feared. On October 27th, the day after the assault, Jordan secretly allowed Baron Brantley to move into her bedroom in the apartment. He hid there for the next 4 days. This set the stage for a final, fatal confrontation. The tension in that small apartment was a ticking bomb, with Alexis trapped at the center, unaware that the countdown had already begun. The final day, Wednesday, October 30th, started with a moment of normalcy that would later haunt her family. At 3:23 in the afternoon, Alexis video-called her mother, Tammy. They laughed and joked as they always did. Alexis was in good spirits, talking about her upcoming plans. This happy, ordinary conversation was the last time her family would hear her voice. Later that evening, around 8:44 p.m., her sister Alexandria texted her to ask what she was doing for the upcoming weekend. Alexis replied simply, "Nothing." When her sister texted back, there was no response. The last confirmed sighting of Alexis alive came from a liquor store surveillance camera at 11:30 p.m. The grainy black and white footage shows her walking into the store wearing a distinctive pink hoodie and black pants. She appears calm, by herself. After this, the timeline depends on the words of her roommate, Jordan Jones. Jordan initially told police that she gave Alexis a ride to that store. They returned home together by 12:30 a.m., and then she went straight to bed because she had an early class. She claimed that when she woke up on Halloween morning, Alexis was simply gone. Based on this story and the growing panic from her family who could not reach her, Alexis was officially reported missing on Friday, November 1st. A massive search began. Flyers with her face were posted all over campus and Atlanta. Her heartbroken parents made public pleas on television for her safe return. Jordan publicly played the role of the worried friend, posting the missing flyer on her own Instagram and writing about how her heart was hurting. Behind the scenes, however, the police were already finding details that did not add up, beginning a race against time to find Alexis before it was too late. The investigation into Alexis's disappearance quickly uncovered contradictions that pointed away from a simple missing persons case and toward a crime scene. When police processed the apartment she shared with Jordan, they found a small single drop of blood on the bathroom sink. This discovery led them to use a chemical called luminol, which can reveal traces of blood even after cleaning. The luminol test lit up the living room area, showing reactive patches in at least 5 or 6 different spots. This was clear evidence that a significant violent event had taken place in that apartment. The next major break came from the apartment complex's parking garage security cameras. The footage directly contradicted Jordan's story about the timeline. It showed Jordan and Baron at her car not at 12:30 a.m., but at 3:11 in the morning. The video captured Baron backing the car up to the elevator area, blocking the camera's view for about 6 to 7 minutes. They then drove away at 3:18 a.m. and did not return until 4:09 a.m. This was a crucial window of time that Jordan had failed to mention. Investigators also pulled phone records. Alexis's phone had been powered off between 2 and 3 a.m. Jordan's phone, interestingly, had also lost signal at 2:52 a.m. Perhaps the most damning evidence of a cover-up were text messages recovered between Jordan and Baron. In them, Jordan instructed Baron regarding the parking garage cameras, telling him to get it done. Furthermore, a friend of Jordan's came forward to police. She said Jordan had texted her asking about a large plastic storage bin, wanting the friend to lie and say she had borrowed it. Every piece of evidence was closing in, painting a picture not of a friend helping to search, but of someone who knew exactly what had happened and was actively trying to hide it. The police now had enough to directly challenge Jordan's story. Confronted with the overwhelming physical and digital evidence, the story Jordan Jones had built began to collapse. On November 8th, 1 week after Alexis was reported missing, detectives sat down with Jordan and her father. With the blood evidence, the garage video, and her own text messages laid out before her, she could no longer maintain the lie. In the presence of her father, a man from a law enforcement family, Jordan confessed to her involvement in the death of Alexis Crawford. Following her confession, she led detectives from the Atlanta Police Department and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to a location in DeKalb County called Exchange Park. There, down a wooded embankment, they discovered the tragic end of their search. Alexis's body was found wrapped in a blue blanket. Her hands were bound with the sleeves of the pink hoodie she had been seen wearing in the liquor store footage. A blue t-shirt was tightened around her neck, and a plastic garbage bag was over her head. Lying next to her was the large plastic storage bin she had allegedly been transported in. Based on Jordan's confession, Baron Brantley was immediately arrested. In his own statement to police, Baron admitted to strangling Alexis. He provided gruesome details, claiming that during the attack, Jordan also participated by holding a plastic bag over Alexis's head. He described how Alexis fought for her life, even tearing a hole in the bag, but that he continued to choke her until she stopped breathing. He told detectives he knew she was dying from the sounds she was making. Their stated motive was to silence the sexual assault accusation against Baron. After killing her, they placed her body in the bin, loaded it into Jordan's car during the early morning hours seen on surveillance, drove to the park, and pushed the bin down the hill. The impact caused her body to fall out, which is how she was found. They then returned to the apartment, attempted to clean the living room, and went to bed.
In the days immediately following the murder, while Alexis's family was frantic with worry and the public search was underway, Jordan Jones and Baron Brantley engaged in a chilling performance of normalcy and deception. The day after the killing was Halloween. Despite having just murdered and dumped the body of her former best friend, Jordan attended a Halloween party with Baron. They socialized as if nothing had happened. Even more calculated, Jordan continued to text Alexis's now powered-off phone, sending messages that feigned concern for her whereabouts and well-being. She maintained her public facade on social media. In one post, she thanked people for not being negative towards her and wrote, "This is obviously a difficult time for me right now, and I just feel helpless. My heart is really hurting right now." She scolded others for harassing her online, telling them to put that energy into finding her friend instead. A friend she knew was already dead. For Alexis's family, the betrayal was beyond comprehension. To learn that this same person could be involved in such a brutal act against their child was a second devastating tragedy on top of their loss. The motive, as presented, seemed to be a twisted form of loyalty to Baron, eliminating the witness to his crime. But the cold efficiency of the cover-up and the social media performance suggested a calculated cruelty that shocked everyone who thought they knew her. The legal journey that followed has been long and fraught with painful delays for Alexis Crawford's family. Jordan Jones and Baron Brantley were both indicted by a grand jury on charges of murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and concealing a death. Both have entered pleas of not guilty. A significant legal blow to the prosecution came in a pre-trial ruling regarding Baron's confession. A judge ruled that the detailed statement he gave to detectives could not be used at trial. The judge found that Baron, who was a known drug user, was likely under the influence at the time of his interrogation. His observed behavior, asking officers for a hug, chain-smoking intensely, and needing to lean on a car for support, corroborated his inability to fully understand his Miranda rights or the consequences of waiving them. The judge also noted detectives improperly suggested that a confession could lead to lesser punishment. This means the prosecution may have to prove their case without his own words detailing the murder. Nearly 7 years later, the cases remain pending in Fulton County Court. For Alexis's family, the fight for justice is intertwined with the fight to preserve her memory. They have publicly advocated against bond for the accused, stating the monsters that murdered Alexis should not ever get out of jail. They insist she be remembered not for the horror of her death, but for the bright, artistic, and loving person she was, a young woman full of promise, whose life was brutally cut short by those she trusted the most. I thank you all for coming with me on this deep dive. Drop a like if this story touched you, and as always, I will be seeing you on our next episode.